Today's podcast is called Not My Monkeys, Not My Circus. So before we get into it, of course, you can check me out online, loniswain.com. That's LONISWAIN. And you can check me out on social media at Lonnie Swain. So today I'm asking the question, why do we do it to ourselves? We have all been guilty at some point or another, taking on other people's responsibilities and problems as our own. That's what I'm talking about. Going out of our way, trying to help someone, quote unquote, knowing good and well that we can't fix what they started, the problems that they created for themselves typically, but we try to anyway. And sometimes even at the expense of our peace of mind, stress, and sometimes even financial strain. Why? I once had a very enlightening conversation with one of my closest and dearest friends, and I was venting about a coworker that wasn't pulling their weight at work and how they were doing things that could cost them their job. Now, this is a grown person that I'm talking about, but I was conflicted because I was observing these things and felt a sense of obligation to say something like, I see that they're doing this all wrong. And maybe they don't know they're doing it wrong. So maybe I should tell them something, because basically if they keep doing it the way that they're doing it, they might end up getting fired. So my friend asked me two very simple questions. Are they your friend? To which the answer was no. And are they your subordinate? Are you their boss? To which the answer was no. So she promptly responded with the Polish proverb that has stuck with me ever since. Not your monkeys, not your circus. In other words, not my freaking problem. So let their boss deal with them about their work performance because, hey, that's their boss's job. But why hadn't I thought about that? Because on a daily basis, I would be willing to bet that the majority of things that are stressing you out are things that are not your monkey or your circus. We take on other people's problems, shortcomings, mishaps, and drama as our own personal projects to try to fix. And I've personally witnessed myself, friends, family members spreading themselves so thin, trying to quote unquote help other friends, acquaintances, co-workers to correct self-created messes. And in the end, we always regret it. Why? Because it becomes a habit. Once you start fixing people's problems and their mess, they're going to consistently come to you to fix their mess. Another reason, we get so consumed in other people's mess that we don't have time for our own mess. We also find that those we have helped aren't able or available to help us when we need help. Because then there is that issue of them always having some drama. So how would they have time or the know-how to help us? And then, of course, we sometimes feel defeated when we aren't able to fix the problem because then again, we didn't create the problem. So we don't know what other factors have gone into this situation. So let's just say you still want to go around with your cape on being Captain Save 'em. Now, while you're being quote unquote helpful, they're being handicapped because some people need to fall on their face at least once. If they're never required to be accountable for their actions instead of bailed out or helped, where is the incentive to change or improve their behavior? I've met so many adults who have clearly been saved one too many times, and their development has obviously suffered. They don't have any troubleshooting skills. They can keep repeating the same behavior and expecting different results every single time. And that's the first sign of insanity. But so many people do it. And especially if this person that we're saving is an adult, and that's especially anyone over 25, I'm sure that they have a track record of making poor decisions. Do a background check, fact check. I'm sure you will find a long line of enablers as well. Well-intentioned parents, siblings, grandparents, family, friends, mentors, all throwing in a helping hand to help them maintain their poor behavior. Because every dilemma or problem that they encounter is placed on someone else's doorstep to fix. Stop enabling this behavior. Now, I might be asking for a tall order, especially when it comes to people that you love and care about. So in that case, you may consider them your monkeys, your circus. However, if you are not emotionally invested, you should definitely not be allowing people to emotionally drain you. So start asking yourself some important questions before you get involved in other people's issues. Am I responsible for this situation? Does this situation really involve me? What will it cost me to get involved? Time, stress, money? What will happen if I decline to participate? Because you don't have to attend every argument you're invited to, and you definitely don't have to attend every drama situation that you're invited to attend. So if you start vetting your involvement in situations through these filtering questions, I would be willing to bet that your stress and drama levels will significantly decrease. I dare you to try it. And of course, let me know how that works out. Hit me up at loniswain, LONISWAIN, or at loniswain.com.